Welcome. Thank you for finding your way here. I understand some of you are something like you walked here. That sounds convenient, but and I want to thank the Center for Spiritual Living in particular for the invitation to come be with you. So thank you, Sherry. I see Sherry's there in the audience as well.
It's a beautiful space. I've never been here before. It's amazing. So a lot of people who are living nearby and in this backyard now know about it.
Okay. So how many of you are ready for a whole lot of silence?
I guess it better not be me.
Well, we do have that opportunity well prepared, so you came to the right place. And we still, I think one of the things we need to do often is adjust ourselves to what it is, rather than the idea that we would create it or order it from fast delivery or something like that. But just the adjustment that it's already here as a presence, and it's an ongoing presence, so we're always with what I experience as silence. So there's my first offering, is just be aware of the silence that's present right here and right now. And I wanted to pull up something from our seminary, and I'm looking back there to see, there it is. Those of you who have been to our seminary on West Adams in Los Angeles, which is also where the headquarters are for the movement of spiritual inner awareness, and our seminary, which is Peace Theological Seminary and College Philosophy. I was walking through the kitchen the other day, and I saw this posted on a plaque. And then I seem to remember that when we purchased the property, whenever that was several years ago, it was one of the items that came with the property. And I thought I'd share it as a kind of a way to relate to where we are right now. I'm sure there would be many words that any one of us could say to indicate where are we. So let me read those words for all of us. The Christ is the head of this house, the unseen guest in every meal, the silent listener in every conversation. So then that would be another way of considering that this consciousness of the Christ, which to me transcends any one person, but we can all be conscious and aware of this anointed presence that's also in the silence, in every conversation, in every occurrence, in every way. And would you like to bring us forward into this presence and an invocation or something like that?
May I share a couple of things first?
Please, I would love this.
Thank you.
I'm still getting to know Lee, and so when she shares, I find I get to know her even more, and then it leads to loving you even more.
Oh boy.
So please, I would like you to share.
I could go speechless, but I can't. I want to say how happy I am to see so many people I know and love, and how beautiful it is. My view of our doing this, we did this at the Parliament of World's Religions, our first Silence of God workshop. Candace Semigran and Richard and Kate Klein were there, and some others who were supporting us. And that was our first exploration of this subject, because one considers, if you're speaking of silence, well, what would you be saying? But the depth of it was to go into the divine. And so we thought we wanted very much to work this again and share it with you. It's a work in progress. My sense of it is, just looking around at who we all are, that we're in this together, that we're sharing this exploration as a oneness. Not we're up here, John, Lee, but we're all together in this. I found a quote that I dearly loved. I wish I knew who it was. It stated anonymous, but regardless, I thought it had value in sharing it with you. there is a third energy. It is not just you and I, but there is a presence that is the mystery of life that is called the divine. Our willingness to be in silence allows the divine to be part of our communion with life itself. I thought that was beautiful. And then I looked up. I love the dictionary, and John and I share this love of the dictionary. So I looked up the definition of two words that to me are sort of synonymous, silence and the sacred. To me, for me personally, they go together. Silence was a very interesting primary definition, the complete absence of sound. And I read that and I went, it kind of perplexed me because I thought, there is no absence of sound. That's my experience. And I recalled sharing with John this morning that years ago in 1970, I left my career and a very busy urban life. I moved to the Pecos Wilderness in New Mexico. The nearest neighbor was a mile away, if that, on an old dirt road, and I was really in silence. But what I discovered is, not only was I not in silence, but that nature is very loud. And it was just an adjustment that as this one layer of sound went away, there was another layer that my consciousness became aware of, which is all the sounds of silence. Then I had a third discovery in that my bed had a big window above it. The stars, I don't know if you've ever seen the sky in Santa Fe, but it's unbelievable. The stars are noisy. It was unbelievable how much sound I discovered without, let's say, we'll call it urban sound. Well, that led me on my own discovery into sound. As more outer sounds dispersed, the discovery became inner sound. And so if we look at ancient paths that deal with sound as a primary focus of awakening to spirit, it involves sound. So John is going to be leading us as we go through this day in ways to acclimate ourselves to other, let's call it other kinds of silence. So now I would be, having said all that, I would love to call us forward into the light. And calling us forward into the light, the light is the primary energetic of spirit, and it pervades all existence. And so when we call ourselves forward into it, it's already there. We're just attuning ourselves to it. We have another way of saying light, living in God's holy thoughts. So also calling us forward will bring us into a oneness. I'll call us forward, and then we're going to be chanting a word that's pronounced Anai Hu. And Hu is an ancient name of God. And Anai carries the frequency of empathy, of compassion. So as we bring those two together, no matter how disparate we are, different, no matter where we come from, it will bring us into the spirit in a oneness. So I also invite you that after we finish the Anahu, is allow yourself to experience the silence. So I'll call us forward. Father, Mother God, Father, we come into attunement in our willingness to open ourselves without defense, without guardedness, but like an innocent child, we open to receive the wonder of your presence, the fullness. And we ask now for the light of the Holy Spirit, this light that surrounds us, blesses us, protects us, and fills us. And we ask all this for the highest good. We ask for the mystical traveler and the preceptor consciousness. And if amongst us I use words that are not comfortable, please put in words that relate for you the higher power, a will other than your own. We ask for the Christ consciousness, that which is all loving, unconditionally, for all existence. We're so grateful to be together, to learn ever more. And we do all things in your will, in gratitude for the life we've been given. Berush Bishan.
Berush Bishan.
Which means the blessings already are.
We encourage you to stay in your attunement with the silence. So in some ways, we're not necessarily helping if we bring your attention outwardly, but we're going to do some of that. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed if you like, but we're going to be showing a video from places in one particular place in Japan, and hearing from the founder of the movement of spiritual inner awareness, John Roger. So it's a temple that we visited with a group a while back, and we actually resided in the temple with the other monks for 24 hours. So I don't know if that qualifies me as having been a monk in this lifetime, but we did some of the Dharma yoga, so that means we were working, outside in the garden and cleaning and working in the kitchen and things like that. So it was an opportunity to be a monk for a day in that tradition. And then we also meditated. We did what we call spiritual exercises, but in the way that they conducted it. So we were making ourselves available to their tradition and way of doing the invocation. And then we had a gentleman who came in and shared his masterful ability to play a flute in a way that evokes our awareness of this presence, this silence. So we have that as well to listen to, and also the words of John Roger, and then if you would like, then watch the beautiful video, which will be up here where we have that slide.
You learn to go into the silence inside of you. And we start then to take this energy that is our spirit, and we start to hold and contain it. And drop back into the silence. And it builds energy. It just starts to percolate. Some beautiful energy fills inside of you. called empowering yourself by going in, becoming very, very quiet. Baby Special.
In 1970, no, let me see, 73, I was pretty young, and as a child I had a lot of love of silence. And, but then you're a teenager and that's much noisier. And around 1973, I went out to what was soon to be one of the most famous spas in the world out in Calabasas called the Ashram. And when I walked in the living room on a great big gorgeous wooden hung piece of wood said, "Be still and know that I am God." And the next line said, "Be still and know that I am." And the next line, "Be still and know, be still, then be." And I'll never forget what utter impact that had on me in how it was broken down. And just it so happens that my very dearest, best, oldest friend is here today, who runs the ashram, who's known me since then, who I love and adore. Katerina, would you just stand up and say hi? That's all you'll have to do for the rest of the day. 43. But it's amazing how something like that, that says silence is beingness, that there's a being aspect to silence. And, you know, I made a list of words. One of them I read the other day. It was actually a biblical phrase, "I come in silence." And I loved what that meant. And then it went on to discourse about the silence is the centering of the true self, where the soul, that's the true self. And coming into the silence allows us more and more in practice to live and behave through a soul energy rather than the mind, the emotions, and other aspects of ourselves. So the words that I shared in the Parliament that are different attributes of silence. One is active listening is an aspect of silence, to actively listen. Stillness, the sacred, oneness, to pause, to rest, presence, God, soul, quiet, the breath. I love this one. Awe, honor, prayer, time out, peace, and observe. We're going to show you a beautiful Rumi. Do we have that? The Rumi quote, "I'm going to throw away sound, talk, and formal things so that I can communicate with you on another plane." This happens to be in John Morton's book.
Well, there's another part to that. There is what I consider one of the more well-known quotes from Rumi, out beyond the ideas of right doing and wrong doing. There is a field. I'll meet you there. And I knew someone who studied the languaging and especially the writing of Rumi from the time of Rumi. And so I went to him and asked to write that as best he could for the blessings already are. So then he wrote that, and then he said his mentor, the person he learned from, would possibly have another interpretation of that. And I said, I welcomed it, and here's what that interpretation became. So it was the same script with another way of looking at it, you know. And I see that in all that we do, that how we individually respond to the presence, the divine presence, to silence is something that may be unique and may be very different from how others experience it, and yet it's something that we all share, like breathing. And it's very important to our well-being and our harmony in those words that Lee was just sharing with us, that taking time for silence, however you approach that, as your personal individual process, whether you call that worship, prayer, meditation, that it's very important that we take time, and especially our awareness, to bathe in the silence, to allow the silence to minister to us. So thank you for stepping into that today with the time that we've all allotted together.
So are you going
We're ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to make it somewhat active for you. We have another slide that we'll put up that has to do with what does silence mean to you. Here we go. And in a hopefully rather simple way that you could turn to somebody or maybe move a bit. And that could be right or left, or it could be talk to somebody in front of you, it could be talk to somebody behind you. But we'd like you to take a moment with this question, and do we have the other one as well, where we have two questions?
This isn't the one later. This is
Okay.
the popcorn
Okay.
for them to tell
Well,
it.
all right, so then
However you
let's
wanna
do that.
it.
We'll write some up
Okay.
for now. So if you have some idea of what silence means to you in a word or phrase like Lee just shared here, just offer it up, and we'll see what we come up with from the group and the collective consciousness that's here. Rest. Regeneration. Introspection.
Space. That's good.
I also heard peace.
Peace.
Being in your center. Observe. Harmony, balance. Sacredness. There's no- Did you hear that one, Lee?
Yep, God. I think I
What was
missed.
the one we just heard here? Tune in. Fullness. Emptiness.
Oh, that's nice.
Gold, like the color gold? Or the substance gold? Well, or maybe both. Still. Sweetness.
Oh,
What was this one over here?
purity.
Purity. Listening. Embracing.
That's a good beginning. Did you
Love.
say love?
Awareness. Quiet, I heard. Over there.
Okay. Anxiety. That's good.
Well, then, let's consider that the next time any of us have some anxiety, that it's something that's resonating somehow to silence. Acceptance. All right. So now we're going to shift a bit here. And we'd like you to consider, what value does silence bring to you? And we'll do another popcorn here.
Okay. So
Anybody
it's
have
what
like a value?
Yes. Okay.
So if you have an experience with silence, there's a value, there's another byproduct or something that comes to you in a meaningful way. Connecting. Freedom. Healing, I heard. Freedom, I heard. Peace, confidence. I am. Relaxing. Being. Water. Calm. Regenerate. Joy. Answers. Sensitizing. Creativity.
Flying? Flying.
Flying. Higher vision. Alignment. Gratitude. Knowledge. Relaxing, I heard. Grace.
Wisdom.
Did we hear wisdom?
I did that.
Okay. All right, let's turn another shift in relation to our experience with silence. What tools do you use to come into that experience with silence?
What did I hear?
Breath?
Breath?
I heard.
Did you say breath?
Letting go. Nature. Observation. Closing your eyes. Forgiveness. What was that? Faith. Gratitude. Surrender. Spiritual exercises. To be present. Understanding. Action. Loving. Willingness.
Hope it's readable. Intention. Compassion. I heard.
Empathy.
Pardon me? Letting God. Okay. Sounds smart.
Okay. Listening, I heard. Are you ready for another shift? So you're into a deeper experience in relation to silence. All right. Then you came to the right place again. You ready to introduce
The breathing.
the moment of peace?
So one of the first tools that we share is a very basic tool. It's one that we're blessed with called breathing. And we're going to share a moment of peace. It's one of my favorites of John Rogers that he did in Australia. But before we begin it, I thought this morning that one of the most profound lessons in breathing for me happened just recently on the East Coast when somebody had their 3-month-old baby, and the baby was laying on his back and just breathing, asleep. And I just found myself mesmerized by watching the baby breathe. And I thought this was a way to really learn about breathing because it's unfettered. It's not been obscured by our mind or anxieties. It was just pure, deep, the whole belly, the whole body was breathing in and breathing out. And I took it for myself as a great tool. And now we'll show you JR's tool.
Take a deep breath, but receive the air into you. Don't take it into you, receive it into you. And then let it go out as not being receiving into you. Receive it into you again. You notice your body starting to relax? And then let it go as not being receiving into you. Because now you're just going to receive good into you. Then you let go of that is not good. Just let it go out. Just keep doing that. Don't take a breath in because that's force. Just receive it in. Because very frankly, something else is breathing you other than you because you can't stop that. Even if you went unconscious, it would still breathe you. If you went into a coma, it would still breathe you because you don't know what it is. So breathing is having faith. And receiving it into you is faithing. Now that you receive in the breath is the breath of God, the divine spirit. And if there were anything less than that, you couldn't exist. So let it spiral your conscious energies inside. And wherever there's a block, let it move the block aside. You got to receive it though. You can't force it. You can't do anything with it. You may not even know that it's happening. But if your intention is to have it happen, to receive in air, and to release negative blocks, you may still have blocks there, but they're not negative. They may be useful to you as building platforms. You're already past your own ego statement and you're seeing into the spirit right now, just by breathing into it. The colors you see in your inner vision will be the color of oxygen that you're going to breathe in. Because that's telling you you need that vibration rate. Feel the deep emotions now with that? Yep. Just keep doing it. This is called Sahaj Yoga, just the natural way of breathing in and breathing out. Do you know why you don't have to believe anything? Because it's the spirit doing it. And if you believe or you don't believe, it still does it. That's why it's closer to you than your hands and feet. All you people that are doing this with us, if you have an ache or pain someplace, breathe the oxygen right into that area with whatever colored light you saw. Just keep doing it, and it will naturally and normally select away when it's through with what it can do. Peace that you're feeling is the presence of the Holy Spirit, because it brings peace that you can't understand. And you got into the bottom part of it, but you're in it. Now it's just like how to maintain and fulfill that more. Anything else? Thank you.
We're going to put up and practice further some of the tools I think we captured earlier, and I think we might have a slide to that effect, but we'll check. We're doing our first run through with the slides today, so it's an experience of the dynamics of new experiences in silence. There we go. So we'll take you through some of these tools. There's lots and lots of them in my experience, and we heard from you today of many tools, perhaps some that you hadn't considered before as a dynamic way to increase your awareness and the value of what silence brings to you. All right, so breathing, we just had John Roger assist with that. And one of the dynamics that is really helpful, I'm sure, for every one of us is to effectively breathe, so that we're using our lungs for what they're designed for. And this amazing dynamic that goes on in breathing, where our connection to the life force, however you consider what that is, by whatever name you would use for it, that it's something that occurs in a very profound, natural way, and a simple awareness of the breathing in and out, and doing it fully, so that we fully breathe in, we fully breathe out. And there are many dynamic practices that have been developed over the ages to help us with this practice. So I encourage you, if you're already doing that, to continue and deepen it in your way. There's also what we would call invocation and prayer, and I'm going to do that with you with another part of it, that you might consider doing some form of chanting if that's not part of your practice. And we do lots of this in the movement of spiritual inner awareness. Earlier, Lee led us in the invocation with an I Hugh, and I'm going to do a variation, just focus on Hugh with you. So it's essentially just the latter part of that, which I think many of us recognize as a very well-known through the ages name for God. It goes across various cultures. So I've heard it in the East, I've heard it in Egypt, and I've heard a lot in wherever I go in the movement of spiritual inner awareness. So I'll do an invocation, and I encourage you to consider that this is your invocation. So if however I put the words forward, I encourage you to go for the experience, however you do that for yourself, that you can deepen your awareness with its presence that comes in the silence, that comes in the divine. So once again, dear Lord, we are here in your presence, welcoming you in a very personal way. So whatever might be present as any form of resistance, any doubt, any fear in our mind, if we find judgments, disturbances, we bring forward your light, your holy presence, that we breathe it in and we breathe it out. That we say, yes, we affirm in this presence. We call to that name, that holy word, that would allow us to attune with you, to come into acknowledgement, to be honoring of you as you also honor us. We open ourselves to your divine love, your grace, whatever you bring forward as healing, as lifting, that you know our needs. So we let go. There is no need for resistance. There's no need for any form of negativity. As we let go, we are open, we are trusting. We find your mercy, we find your touch. However that comes forward in our awareness. And each one of us knows this in a personal way, that it can be felt. It can be seen and heard. So you bring forward a greater awareness of our highest nature, serving the highest good of all concerned. In this consciousness of the beloved, we find your trust. That there is safety here. There is protection. There's loving, caring, and the consciousness that we would know as mercy and forgiveness. And now we invoke this presence more fully to whatever level we can handle by simply saying within, I accept. So be it. Beirish Basham. And together we can chant out loud. Is you. Now in your awareness, however you experience silence, allow it to be overflowing, to be all around, fully present within and outside, and whatever you are experiencing. Allow yourself to be lifted, moved, and assisted in whatever ways are serving you now. That you are able to release any burdens as your consciousness comes into understanding. That you have the ability that comes through wisdom to realize everything has a purpose, a good purpose. And to be assisted evermore in releasing any disturbances. Now take a moment with that presence we could call the inner master, the one who is always with you in your conscious awareness, even when unconscious. That this presence comes in the silence. We'd also know it in terms of the world as invisible. But it can be seen as a radiant form. And you may find this place we refer to as the sanctuary. All who come into this place come in peace, come in understanding, come in great love and purpose to assist and support all. And in your observation, in your listening, you are able to fully partake in greater understanding. And in this sanctuary, we can join together. We can gather here so that what is in our heart is fully expressed. And a beautiful sharing and fellowship is here. That all are friends. Everything is in harmony. And we give thanks. Beirish Beshan.
A number of years ago, John Roger gave us what he called 9 magic words. And so it was unusual to hear John Roger attribute the word magic, you know. But he said that they were magical because when used, often in a difficult situation in silence, or they could as well be spoken, that their frequency was of such a nature that it would bring peace and calm to a situation. And the 9 magic words were, God bless you, I love you, peace, be still. And so he said they were definitely a tool that could be used inwardly or outwardly. And so often, he said they could be used, for instance, I myself use them in the morning when I look at our planet and I envision our planet in space and all humanity in a circle around the planet, holding hands regardless of any difference, and just speaking that energy into the planet. God bless you, I love you, peace, be still. And I also use it if I'm in the market and somebody's having an argument or in any kind of situation and the words just have a frequency to them. It reminds me, some of you may know of Professor Emoto's work in Japan. And what he proved was that how we use our words and the intention with which we use them affects the molecular structure of water. And it's evidential, it's scientific. You can actually see the hexagons diminish if a hateful thought or word or a negative word went in the direction of the water would change its structure. If we use words of love, of peace, of upliftment, the water structure would just vibrate. And it's a wonderful, simplistic tool. But, so I'm sharing it with you as one of our tools. It can be used in any way, but I'm going to say it and ask you to repeat it after me. We'll do it 3 times. And just allow yourself to see how it works for you. So, God bless you.
God bless you.
I love you.
I love you.
Peace, be still.
Peace, be still.
God bless you.
God bless you.
I love you.
I love you.
Peace, be still.
Peace, be still.
God bless you.
God bless you.
I love you.
I love you.
Peace, be still.
Peace, be still.
Do you have any words to add to that?
Those are beautiful words. I think they work with everything that is a disturbance or is calling for harmony, calling for loving, calling for whatever is needed. So they are magic.
Yeah, I love to do it with animals. I'm very fond of animals, and we have feral cats in our backyard, and they just, when I start speaking these words, they just stop and stare at me. And I don't know if you noticed with cats, John Roger told me years ago that when a cat slowly closes its eyes and opens it, it's a way of saying, I love you. And this feral cat just sits there riveting, waiting for me to say, and then just closes his eyes and opens the eyes. So that's my little area of experiment. So there's another tool we have, blessings. And he is the master of blessings. That's my experience. That's my experience. And we all can do blessings. So often in the silence, you know, when you're somewhere, just the attitude, the energy, and the intention of blessing a circumstance, blessing someone, seeing something. I bless the TV set. I bless what I see in the world. I use it as a discipline or a practice. And the great thing about blessings, when we do them, it's like becoming a walking prayer. It's a practice, but it practices our own consciousness in something that's giving a goodness from our own heart, mostly in the silence, to something outside of us. And again, it's that way where we can share the goodness of who we are. And we actually have a blessing. We're going to play you of John's, a blessing of peace. And you'll see what you experience listening to the qualities actually of silence inside as you hear what a blessing invokes. So Roger, and this is a blessing of peace. It's actually in a CD in the back of one of John's books called You Are the Blessings.
Dear Lord, we give thanks for this fellowship of bringing us together in love and joy, and we ask that we may leave here, even if it is in this room, that you can take what we do not need, and that we make it an offering into the one who is your Christ, that consciousness that is anointed by the authority and the power, that is your truth and your love. We accept this blessing that we may go free, that we may leave here fully resolved in your truth, and that we are free. And wherever we go this night, we also ask that this entire planet and everyone and everything within it and upon it, in every corner, is blessed, that we can call forward your peace, the peace toward all. And when you listen as you do, you hear it in one voice. You hear it in the silence inside. What you know is eternal. We give thanks. Beirish Beshan. All right. Earlier I mentioned that you're going to have an opportunity to share with another person about your process with silence, and I think we have the slide I was calling for a bit early. Here we go. How do you experience silence in your life is one question. And the other question for now is, what could you do to become more aware of the silence? And how I see this is that you would just take a few moments to each answer the question with whoever you partner up with. And obviously there's more opportunity if you do it with one person, but if it just works out that you do it with three or however many you end up doing this with, it just means there's less opportunity to share with the time we have allotted. We're going to give you, I'd say about 3 or 4 minutes, somewhere in there, and we'll check in with you. So go ahead and see if you can pair up with somebody. Easily, maybe just turn to somebody, and if you need to, move around. Anybody looking for a partner? Okay. Can I have somebody pair up over here? Okay, here we go. It looks like Jean is going to pair up. All right. So let me just help you do one of the tools called Invocation. And I like to make it simple whenever that works. And so one way is just say light, or any magic word that brings you into the presence and the invocation. So with your partner, consider that there is this presence that Lee was referring to earlier that is always with us, and I also referred to it as the inner master. So in your partnering, that you're also coming into a presence that's answering this question. So you may feel that you're speaking with the presence or for the presence, that your partner is speaking to you as a divine presence, and that you're speaking for the presence. So you might open up to that experience right now. Consider that you're surrounded and filled in the light that is this presence, the holiness of what it is, that it serves the highest good. And if there's something like a clearing that comes in for you, a healing, a greater understanding, just be open to that. Sometimes people experience this in an emotional way, a moving way. I encourage you to allow that to occur if it does. However it comes forward for you, enjoy it. Observe your process and enjoy the opportunity that you have with your partner to experience the blessing of sharing. Do we happen to have a gong or something like that? So we love gongs in the movement of spiritual awareness. So when you hear the sound of a gong, oh, okay, then we even have one that we could play live in the room here.
I think
But we'll start with the one with Roger, and then maybe we'll hear the other one a little bit later. So when you hear this gong, begin, and then we'll let you know when it's time to move into another part of the process. me check. Did all of you have the opportunity to answer both questions? Anybody not have that opportunity yet? Okay, so we had a little cross-referencing here. So the idea was you would be going back and forth with all the questions rather than switching roles. But in any case, what we'll do is we'll give you a couple more minutes for whoever has not done the questions, and then we have something more for you. So go ahead and begin. I'll just have you begin, and then we'll have another gong for when it's time to move on to the next part of the process. So even if it's possible that you didn't have an opportunity to answer the questions, we're just going to advance you into the next two questions. So there are two more questions we're going to bring up. So what is a specific area of your life that is disturbing to your peace or silence? Is there anybody that has no disturbance whatsoever in your life? Okay, all right. There's somebody claiming that, but sometimes that's an invitation to be tested, so get ready. The next question is, how could you approach this area with more calm, more silence, and peace? So there's the opportunity that with what we've been doing to have more awareness of the peace that's present, the silence that's here with us, then we can learn to have a greater knowing of how we can approach any disturbance with more calm, silence, and peace. And that would be the value coming from your willingness to be here today and to contribute your precious life, that you chose to be here and give yourself a gift. So let's consider that there's a blessing of greater silence, peace, and calm that's coming up and prepared for you. So by tuning into these questions, your willingness to look at any disturbance, and then how you could approach that disturbance with greater calm, peace, and silence. You ready? So let's consider that you're still in that beautiful presence, that your heart is open, that you're with that consciousness that comes when two or more are gathered in the name, that presence that's with you, so allow the wisdom that's indwelling in your heart to be more conscious so that you can speak from the wisdom, speak to what's here for you in the blessings. And when you hear the gong, you can begin and be sure you are moving around so each person involved is getting an opportunity to answer these questions. So I consider that you've had a beautiful exchange, so that there is greater calm, peace, and silence with all of us, and a greater blessing of that wherever we may go from here. And just take a moment with your partner, however you would do that, to share your appreciation, and then we'll be up here, huh? All right. Let's see. Let's do one of our tools called Invocation, and I'm going to invite someone to volunteer and do the invocation. Anybody feel so moved? Let's do Matt over here, and we're going to bring Matt a microphone. Is it already on, Richard? Richard. Yeah, that's a nice name for Roger, too.
Okay, let's start by taking a nice deep breath in, letting it out. We'll just bring our awareness into our hearts. Dear Father, Mother God, we open to the loving and the light and the sound that's here, to the blessings that are present, to the fellowship, to the growth and the learning that's taking place. We surrender and offer to you all that we are and anything we can let go of here that we no longer need, in service to knowing ourselves more deeply. And in this sacred moment, in this beautiful silence, we listen to our own hearts beating as one, as the heart of God. Berush Beishan.
Some of you are finding the movement of spiritual inner awareness today. And anybody, this is your first direct experience or event Okay. Sometimes we're going to go, well, I don't know if I want to admit it. But so hopefully you're finding the unity in what we're doing that connects us, that's part of the field I experience with silence, is that it has connectivity. I heard someone mention that earlier as one of the values of silence, is we discover we're connected, we discover we're actually not just like one another, we're holy, as in WHOLLY, connected. And I just see that we're all in practice in learning how to be who we are, such that we get along with each other, and that we have something in our way of teaching that we practice, which is we're never given anything we cannot handle. So that would include other people. And I consider one of the designs of the creation is to introduce each one of us to another, and then another, and then another. And one of the ways I find practice or silence works is that if someone confounds me in some way, so I don't seem to understand or appreciate how they're expressing or what I'm experiencing, that silence is a beautiful way to take a pause, to take a moment that in some way they're teaching me another part of myself that I'm learning how to get along with, and learning how to understand. And sometimes I need to breathe deeply, which is another tool to adjust my disposition and attitude towards that. We do refer to a consciousness we call the mystical traveler, and this is something our founder, John Roger, referenced as he began sharing his gifts. There is information available to you if you're interested in all of that. It's very profound. So in 1963, he had a very powerful experience that shifted his consciousness into much greater awakening. Then he talked about, well, I don't know all the details, but he was at that time a man named Roger Hinkins, and then he introduced the world to John and changed his name to John Roger. And then there's an amazing level of teaching in the ways of books and seminars that have come forth. There's more than 50 books. There's a seminary not too far from here that we have active classes and courses. Some of the people in the room I recognize have been involved for many decades actually now. Many, I think, like at least 4, that would be many, huh? So I'm one of those. Anybody else been involved for 40 years or more? So there you go. But it's also very nice to come into the invitation that's here in this center and meet those of you who are part of this. And John Roger did go to various centers, including ones with the science of mind and unity, and I think the Edgar Cayce Foundation that's in Virginia Beach, and the list kind of goes on. And to me, the fellowship of the heart, the fellowship of the soul is really what we're on, regardless of how we work it out in the various ways we do. So I just want to take a moment with that and give our thanks again to John Roger, who passed in 2014. And so we're just kind of beginning to get a hold of what he left us to consider and also share with the world. So thank you for that opportunity as well, to bring his work and touch to those of you who are here today for the first time with what we're doing. Lee, are you ready to go through that process? Okay.
What I'm going to be doing is what we call a closed eye process, which is really like a meditation, guided meditation, using a lot of the intention of what the workshop is about, the silence, the consciousness, the awareness. Roger, do you have some lovely, quiet, soft music? And so if we'll just close our eyelids and take the lights down. And take in a deep breath. And let's consider it's the breath of God. The breath of God that is you. Take another breath. Take your time. And allow yourself to deepen this breath into a rhythmic breathing. Enjoy your breath. Experience pleasure in your breathing. And imagine now that your spiritual eyes are opening within. You are aware that you are aware. And now let this awareness become part of your breathing. So as you're breathing, you feel your awareness getting bigger, more expanded. Just experience yourself expanding and expanding as you're breathing, as you're aware. God lives in your breath. Place your hand on your heart. Feel your heart beating. Really tune into your heartbeat. Place your awareness in your heartbeat. This is God's heart. This is God's heartbeat. Just relax. Let go. And as you're relaxing into your heartbeat, silence is expanding. Observe this expanding space in which sound exists. Listen. Feel warmth spreading through your body from this heart center of your being. Experience this warmth. And notice that quiet is present. Peace is present. Let the silence reveal the presence as the rhythm of your breathing deepens. Feel the contact of your hand on your heart. and bless yourself. The God of you is blessing you. God bless you. I love you. Peace, be still. In this active listening, in this deep listening, let anything come to your mind. Let it come present to you that might be a disturbance, that unrests you, that blocks your compassion, your peace. Let this come clearly to your attention and place it in the presence of your peace. Place it in your heart. Now choose to let it go. Offer it up to peace. Offer it to this quiet, to this silence. Let it go. Let it be fully lifted from you in God's grace and dispersed in expanding silence, returning to the nothingness from which it came. Now claim a healing heart, full of love. This is your heart. Take a deep breath and say silently, this is love. This is divinity. I love you. God bless you. Peace, be still.
Stillness is a word for silence, as is quiet, as is rest and peace. Those are words from John Roger. As you're ready, you may open your eyes, or if you want to stay in that beautiful blessing, please do. We're going to open it up to hear more from you about your experience with silence, your experience with the divine presence. Maybe with some of you getting warmer. Is it getting warm enough in here for everybody? Anybody too cold at the moment? I'm just checking around. All right. Because we can, I found out, adjust that. But I found out there's also an inner thermostat. So if you didn't know about that, just find it in your sanctuary. It may look like a dial, and just turn it up or down for temperature. We call it sharing as a process. If you would like to share something about your experience, sometimes the experience can be a question, an inquiry into what you want to learn or experience more of. So Lee and I are up here, available to your sharing. We have a microphone or two available that we can bring to you. And sometimes that's a great experience, to find your silence while you get over public speaking or something like that. Or sharing about your personal experiences with people you're still meeting. Anybody want to do some sharing? All right, well, I'm going to start back here first. I'd like to hear your name too.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anne, and thank you for having this wonderful workshop here in this incredible space. I love it out here. And I want to share two experiences, but I'm trying to make them short. One is that I'm in celebration today because I am wearing flats for the first time in 3 years. And I can lift this leg much better because I was in ballet. My chiropractor is here and he'll be mad, but it's because of him that I can wear my flats today for an hour or so.
So you've been dealing with an injury of some kind and
Yes.
working
Yes.
through that.
Yes,
Okay,
and so because he's here and he's forgiving, he won't be angry. He'll be celebrating, and so I celebrate.
Sounds like you're still in therapy with your chiropractor.
Yes,
All right.
yeah. So,
Well, all the more reason he can visit his silence.
yes, run to him, do not walk. Run as fast as you can to Dr. Steve, wherever he is. Where is he?
There he is.
Oh, he's got to stand
Dr.
up too.
Steve.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so let's start with Lee, because I knew her first. John.
Uh-oh.
Is this
Oh,
like,
yes.
this is our life or something? or-
Yes, this is our life. We'll make it short. I'm sitting in my rocking chair with my brother that I prayed for, which really was you. I'm older than you. So it was really you that I was praying for. But I'm sitting in my green rocking chair with my little brother. And we always waited for Peyton Place. What was it that, like an 8-year-old girl with a 3 or a 2-year-old brother would sit and rock and watch this woman? What's that? So there was an awesomeness, an awesomeness. And the reason why I bring up awesomeness, which I attribute to both of you, is because in my notes, our beloved, I like to call him my chief, my personal director and coach, he mentioned honest. It's in my notes. It's going to take too long to look it up, but he mentioned honest, a sense of honest when it comes to silence. So I'm going back to that when I first found you.
One of the ways I'm reflecting on what you're saying is that in that awness, it often is that experience that takes our breath away, like,
Yes.
and that there's something to that, that something would cause you to spontaneously move a lot of breath as much as you could take in. And then often it is behold, it's an experience to behold, to allow yourself to shift into an awareness of something that's on a majestic proportion.
Yeah.
That it's also reflecting to you your awesomeness, that you would see that in another, or you would see it in a situation. And so perhaps consider that in this moment is to know yourself as awesome, and to realize that about your life, that you have an awesome life. However you've come to this place with flats on.
Yeah, baby.
And then maybe your chiropractor thinking, what did I tell you? But my sense is that you're in an opportunity to know that awesomeness is a natural way of being when we're attuned with who we are and what life is bringing to us. That it's a natural state I refer to as supernatural. It's bigger perhaps than in the moment we can contain, and that's okay, as your willingness to bring it in and accept as much as you can is the opportunity to expand and to grow and find that you're moving into a higher and greater experience of who you are, that all these experiences in your life have been contributing all along.
Yeah.
And one of the ways I relate to silence is it's a way we know the solid nature of our life.
The solid
nature, that we can stand upon it, that it doesn't break down.
It doesn't?
When
Whoa.
just consider what
Did
I'm
you hear
looking
that
at.
one?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
So it has an eternal nature that keeps going, like your breath keeps going. Even beyond your conscious control, it keeps going. And to consider that our supernatural state is in the breath. So even if we're not aware of our body, we're still in that supernatural state when we choose to be. And that's one of the opportunities that silence can bring when we allow ourselves to move into the awareness of the silence. It starts expanding us into a state beyond our limitations, including anything we would relate to as pain or suffering. But those are limited states, they're not the solid state. That there is a part of who we are that is always on, always good, always able to overcome whatever is in your presence. So then as you relate to that, I'm just bringing it up. It's not like it's in my vocabulary to call it solid state, but that's how I'm relating to you now, as a way of sharing how I relate to it. It's something I can stand upon, live upon. When I turn to it, it's always present. Even when there's great disturbance. It's
Really?
present. I know you've heard this by now. Peace is present.
Yeah, I've heard it. Mm-hmm.
Regardless of external circumstances. And if you just allow yourself to trust that and have faith toward that, turn towards it, silence is one of the keys that can bring you into the experience of the peace that's present, the calm that's present, the harmony. Like, be still and know that I am God, and that you could say that as an experience of who you are.
Wow. So,
Anything else, Ann?
oh yes. So my brother texted me yesterday, And my brother looks a lot like you. And he's, you know, he was a baseball, sports, basketball, golf kind of guy. And he reminds me so much of you, and his name is Matthew William DeSano.
Well, if you think of it when you next have contact with Matthew, just tell him I tip my hat to him.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I will.
Right.
And then I will do that. And I just want to say that when you did a service for me, we'll just say you did a service for me when you were in Northern California. It was what you would call a balancing, polarity balance, yeah. A polarity balancing, yeah. And we walked outside and I saw a purple flower. And inside of me, this was hundreds of years ago, I guess. No, really, maybe 30 years ago, I don't know. But I saw that purple flower and I gave it to you because I knew you were a mystical traveler. And I took a picture. And I'm asking for that picture to arrive in hand because I'd like to give it to Lee. And when I gave you that purple flower, that was an awe moment. So I honor you, my brother.
God bless you, Aunt.
Thank you.
You still want to share? Okay, we'll bring the microphone over here.
Who's sharing, John?
Right there.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Barbara, and I wanted to thank you like I thanked Lee. I think you made this seminar especially for me. The question I have is, already in your process, what is specific area in your life is disturbing to you? Bottom line, I've been dealing with living in the last 5 years in like 9 different places. Assisted livings, sober living, even though I'm not an addict. Not having the monies to live where I know I'd like to choose. And I have had, I want to say absolutely none, but that would be a lie. Basically, barely any peace. And in that, such distraction of where we're going to be tonight, where we're going to be tomorrow, and also a really bad.
Would you like to do something about that right now?
Oh, yes, I'm open.
Okay. There's a key, openness. Openness to shift. So at any moment when you would like to experience peace and you're conscious of that,
Yeah.
then have the willingness to shift. Have the willingness to change. Are you experiencing peace right now?
This whole time I've been here.
Okay.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
I want you to consider that wherever you are is here. So it's not really related to a place other than where you are is a place, but it's also where you are, so you're here. Here's one of my sayings in life. If I wasn't here, I'd be somewhere else, so I might as well be here. It's probably like a Zen koan or something like that, but I know that probably doesn't make much sense, or what are you trying to say? But at some point it was rather profound when I said that, because I realized I'd been searching, I'd been looking for something as though it was never here. It was never where I was. So wherever I would go, I wouldn't find it. So then I was always looking for it, seeking it. And then one day I realized, well, I might as well just be here and consider that it's here. The issue has been I've been denying that it's here. So shifted from denying that your peace is present, that it's present regardless of circumstances. So regardless of where you lay your head or wherever you put yourself for your rest, wherever you call home, the peace is present with you, that you bring it with you. Then these tools work, my friends. So if you have the willingness to breathe, if you have the willingness to be still, if you have the willingness to be attuned to the silence, I listen to the silence that's also present. So if there's a bunch of noise around and static, and somebody was telling us when we were in New York that they were jackhammering their new roof into place for weeks. So just try and imagine that, to have peace in a place where they're jackhammering. But you can do it. That you're not given anything you can't handle from within. So peace is within you. And these statements don't mean much until you put it into practice. One way to put it into practice is to trust that you can make the decision. It's your choice. So peace is a choice, always available to you.
Keeping the door open, keeping the key. Can I just have a but? It is a jackhammering for a year and a half in the building. And when I do get quiet, it gets louder.
What gets louder?
The hammering and the noise and the people and outside the window. And
Here's the shift.
okay.
The peace is even more loud. So listen to it. Silence is a key into these experiences. So silence the mind, silence whatever is disturbing you, and shift it to the peace.
Okay, I'm going to do that tonight. Okay.
We'll do it now.
Oh,
That's the point of this exercise. You don't have to go anywhere. It's here. It's wherever you are. We can all decide that about ourselves. That we breathe in peace. So whenever you breathe, then maybe ask yourself, am I breathing? If I'm breathing, I'm in touch with peace. So even if you hold your breath, which probably won't last all that long, but even while you do it, you could be conscious of the peace that you experience by seeking that. It's a decision.
I guess I don't understand why tears come when I go to that place.
I have some understanding about it.
Could you share it?
Sure. You're letting go through the emotions, but you do not need to hang on to. It's no longer serving you. So the emotions is kind of like putting what you don't need into the river, and the river takes it downstream. And sometimes you put yourself in the river because you need it too. Maybe you just need a bath or a baptism.
Yeah.
Or maybe you need to play
Yes. Yeah.
because you can frolic in the water. So emotions, it's a medium of releasing energy that needs to release. But it's also a medium to express energy that needs to express. Then decide what you want to have. Do you want to have more peace or more disturbance? You know the answer?
Peace.
Good. See how easy that was?
Even if the emotions flowing.
When we get on to who we are, it's very clear. It's also very simple. We want love, not hate. We want peace, not war. It's things, if we really think about it, when we were in kindergarten, it was what we were learning. Maybe the hard way. As you get around to how this works, it's simple. It's not complex. It's what do you want? Then how could you get it? And there's lots of ways. Your divine nature is naturally peaceful, naturally loving. You already know that about yourself. I'm not introducing this to you. You've had these experiences.
That's why it's so uncomfortable to be out of it.
Okay, then change that. One of the ways to change it is to realize you're bigger than all the small stuff in your life, and it's all small stuff. I'm just borrowing somebody's book. It's on the cover. You know, just know that about yourself. I can deal with anything because if God be for me, what can stop me? So there is something to get with the divine nature in you, to get with it. We do that practice. And in my experience, it's not just every day. I need to do it ongoing. If I'm not conscious and careful about where I place my focus, I go off. Have you ever experienced that?
Way off.
Okay, then maybe just say, you know, I don't need to go way off. I can just be aware of going off and come back into my beautiful nature, my joyful nature, my love of people and things. Can you say words like that to yourself?
It feels good to have it mirrored back because I've forgotten.
Okay. Well, I heard Lee saying words today and then asking people to repeat. Again, we can learn this in kindergarten. Like, children, we're now going to sing a song. God bless you.
I bless you.
Peace, peace.
And then we can also sing and march around the classroom so we can make it fun. We can find people that want to have fun. Birds of a feather. Be around people that want to have a good time, but make sure you're in that way. Instead of, I'm in trouble, rescue me. Maybe some people want to rescue you. But as we get going into our life purpose, we find out we have things to do. Not just on a bucket list. We have a good life in store that's waiting to happen. So get with it. That you have a blessed life. You have a life full of good. Go after it. When you go after it, it increases. And then your ability to share it increases. Then people want to be around you because there's so much good in you expressing. Then they invite you to places like this to share it. So what I'm doing in a way is selfish. I want a blessed life, so if necessary, I insist on it with other people. You be the blessing, because I want your blessing. And I find people love to do good things. It's our natural way. Do you have things like cards that remind you? Here, I'll do a demonstration. And I know we have more of these somewhere because we asked that everybody would be able to have one of these cards. Can you read what that says?
Yes. Stillness is a word for silence, as is quiet, as is rest and peace. JR. I
Okay.
don't have this.
You do now.
Okay. Thank you.
See, I even give this young man one of these. And anybody else want one of these cards? See how this works? It's another form of seeding. But have these things nearby that remind you what you want to create. So that the things in your life, wherever you go, wherever you frequent, so where you lay your head, have things that support you and remind you of the best of who you are and what you want to create. And they don't have to be just words. They can be things that nurture you and bring you joy and remind you of the beauty in your life. And then you just keep it up.
Can I ask you one more thing? I already have the answer, but I don't know quite how to apply it.
So you're a show-off. That's okay. You already have the answer. Let's show it off. Let's share it with other people.
It has to do with chronic pain in my left hip. I had a really bad surgery 3 years ago. And the chronic pain is a distractor too. And when we did the meditation, I was breathing in yellow into it. I'm getting another card, I think. Oh, they're giving me another card. I'm just
Do
wondering.
you have pain right now?
Yeah, as I stand, it's right.
Okay, you know our 1 to 10. 10 is like the worst kind of pain. You're about to pass out or something like that. And 1 would be, it just barely comes into your awareness. So what's the number?
Standing still right now, it's about a 3 or 4, as long as I don't move.
Okay. Do you have any idea that what you usually deal with as a number?
Oh, when I'm walking, it can go to a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I see about that. There are some things that we need to learn how to live with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call them certain kinds of conditions. They become the kind of thing that the idea that you're going to eliminate it, maybe not what's up is the best option. But I'd still pray for it. Like go for it. Go for perfection. But if you find, hey, I have something about my hip that keeps being a disturbance or a pain, then what you can change is your ability to handle that so that you can relate to what's going on toward pleasure. No, this is not sadomasochism, but it is increasing your ability to withstand any form of negativity. That's going to be in your favor in this world.
Wait, stop.
Increasing your ability to withstand any negativity.
Really?
So however great or powerful the negativity is, the God within you can handle it. My experience is that's the truth.
That's big.
That's right.
That's profound.
So God created itself in such a way as it can handle all of the creation. And so can you. So then you just move your consciousness into how would God relate to this condition in my hip? See, my sense of humor says God would try to escape, like get out of my body, order up a new body. No, it's how would God deal with it as you, in you,
Right
with
now.
that condition. So my God would change the subject. My God would find a joke that I laugh at, find something that I focus upon, and that focus becomes what occupies my mind. So as I learn how to focus in what I want to experience, the pain becomes less of my focus. It doesn't mean I don't have to deal with it. It just means how I deal with it is I just do it on a need-to-know basis. So one of my experiences about pain is it's a messenger. So if I get the message, like what's the message, pain? You can even turn it into an animation and have a conversation with your pain. A lot of you have done this exercise because we do it in some of our programs. Then you get on a friendly basis, a conversational basis with all your disturbances. Because consider that there's a message in any form of negativity that confronts you. And maybe the message is, I just want to be friends with you. It's like, well, then my point of view is then act like my friend. My friends don't try to beat me up and insult me. My friends want to break bread together or play a game together or tell a good story or share something beautiful or meaningful. So often, remember in grade school when I think I'm going to do the boys part. So the girl you picked on was actually somebody you like. But the girl didn't necessarily experience it that way. The teasing or whatever it was that became some form of negative attention, but it was really like the reason I'm paying so much attention to you is I like you. So consider that pain is paying attention to you because it actually likes you. Then just find out, well, what is your message? And come to a place where it helps you resolve what you need to know, what you need to learn, or what you need to manifest.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
This young lady in the third row there, if you ever want to pipe in, you just pipe in. Or,
Pass this mic down.
Thanks, John. Oh, it's really great to be here. It's great to see you both. Thanks.
what's
My
your
name's
name?
Aria,
Thank you.
and I love peace and quietness and calmness. And I seek it out, even if that's wear earplugs when there's noise next door.
Is that
or
microphone
around me.
on? Doesn't sound like it's on.
Oh, I need to put it closer. And I want to get away from the controlling aspect of peace. I mean, I can control
Say
a lot.
what?
the
Did you
con-
say the
The
controlling aspect of peace?
I said controlly, but controlling, so that I can accept it more, what's going on around me, or just to move out of that consciousness of, I mean, so that it's like I don't have to go to the forest so often, or I don't have to
Okay.
go out of where I am.
Do you have something?
I do have something. Years ago, I remember a moment where JR looked at me and he said, "You're spoiled." And I was like, "What?" And it was because I had this attachment to silence being a certain way, my SE chair being a certain way, my conditionality being a certain way for me to get to the peace.
Yeah.
He said, the only thing you get to have is your skin. That's it. Wherever you are, is where the peace is, where the love is. And of course, as we know, both John and JR, when they speak to you, it's on many, many levels, but I really got it. And then, of course, John, lucky me, is the greatest trainer in the world because it can be here, it can be there, it can be noisy, and it's just all over, and it's like letting go of that spoiledness. We'll use that word even though it's kind of
Yeah,
not
it
so
fits.
friendly.
It does fit.
But it's that, and for me it became a practice because I had a lot of attachment to what I love silence, I love things a certain way, and that's the control you're talking about. So essentially it's, can you be in a bus with no earplugs and all of LA and chant your tone for 2 hours and really have a beautiful experience? I mean, it's like life created a lot of tests for me to get over it. So I understand what you're talking about, but the only thing I know is expansion. Just that, like John said earlier, you're bigger than that. Who you are is much bigger than that. And it's always bigger than the conditions and the earplugs.
Does
And
that
I-
make sense?
It makes sense, and I want the peace that's inside of me to be of greater service, and rather than from a controlling place, to be of greater service and light and love.
Did you ever do that exercise that Jer would help people expand their auras out to the
Yeah,
walls
from
and
here.
fill the
Yes.
room with your aura? Just consider you have an aura of peace and you can do the same thing. So where you are, using your breath in just that simple way, as you breathe in, you get a big bucket or container of peace. And as you breathe out, it goes out to the disturbance. And I find if necessary, if it's really intense, whatever the disturbance is, then I do visualization as powerful as I can make it. So if the disturbance is jackhammers, we'll just use that. Well, then my imaging can bring in Walt Disney change-ups, so that the jackhammer then becomes beautiful musical instruments. They just look like jackhammers. So then I can also imagine what it sounds like. And then I put in Fantasia images and away we go.
Yes, it does work, yeah, and the joy of it and the humor. And I'm wondering if there's like a basic self way that I could work a little more with my basic self.
Sure.
To
it's
bring
the
that.
same thing.
Okay.
Just find the peace. It's always present.
Mm-hmm.
It's always in your breath. And I relate to it as an energy. So as soon as I can find it, if there's upset, this is basic self territory. This part of me, I feel tense or disturbance, and it feels like this inside, then I can do it inside. And if you have disturbing thoughts that keep coming in, worries, like you want to get your rest, but you keep thinking about some meeting, or you keep thinking about some bill you don't know how you're going to pay. Whatever it is, that you take the energy of the peace to relate to it and then transform it. So inside of you, you see it become something different. And I do find that when it's really intense, that the more animation I can work up. There's something about moving it into fantasy and winning in my fantasy, which is one of Jer's great teachings. Always win in your fantasies, because they're fantasies. You're making them up, so make them up so they're what you want to become. So breathing is a key. So remember earlier I said, check and see if you're breathing. Because if you're in shock, you may not be breathing.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody's been in that kind of shock where you're paralyzed in some way. It's like, breathe. Sometimes people nearby will go, breathe, or they'll make you breathe. An ice cold shower can do it too. But that's a last resort for me. I mean, that's like, this is serious. It's getting in an ice cold shower.
Awesome.
Or do the ice bucket challenge.
I like the
Then
fantasy
make
idea.
yourself the charity. I'll give myself $50. Then go, what do I want to do with this $50? And just consider you have more than you need. and actually go do something with the $50 that's meaningful to your heart.
Seating.
Okay. But make sure your heart, you feel that, yes, I love that. That, it makes your heart feel good, that energy. Then you see what we're doing here, we're transforming it, so we're not relating to disturbance, we're relating to what my heart wants to experience. Joy, peace. I love this.
I love this. Yeah.
Right. And there's another part of this. Trust yourself. That God put trust in you in the beginning enough to overcome every situation. So in other words, trust that I can overcome this. I can get through this. I can triumph. Do you hear the energy in there? It's not, I think maybe, it's not that kind of energy. It's be certain. The certainty of the soul. And then watch where you're led. That your life will start taking you into the triumph. So the first part of that is connect to the energy of your divine nature, which includes your silence. That you're at peace with all things. Even if the thing doesn't act like it's at peace with you. You're at peace with it. But maybe there's some changes, some transformation in order. Like if your hip's hurting, let's see if we can do something about that. And maybe there's somebody around that can help you. That's part of it. I often find that God conspires to make us do what would show us we're loved, we're adored, we're okay. But often it looks like do something different. Do something about taking care of yourself. So you're voting for yourself. I'm a good person. God loves me. I'm going to act like it. And maybe say, okay, God, how would you do my life if you were here? And then realize God is here. And there are a lot of ways to invoke this. You know, if you have a holy name or a divine presence that you know personally, that's a way. It's like an elder brother or sister showing you how to do it. And they're going to stay with you until you do it. In God's business, there's no failure. In MSIA, we say, not one soul will be lost. That's just another way of saying you're going to succeed. You're going to overcome. To be efficient, I'd say do it this lifetime. Don't wait. Then as long as you're doing it this lifetime, do it now. Like this is it. So it's a whole nother way. It's like doing it now doesn't relate to later. It relates to now. It's like it doesn't relate to avoid. It's now. It takes great courage sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, to face up with what your life is telling you. But it's not a bad message. It's not a message of you're no good or you can't. It's a message of let's work this out. We can turn toward a greater good. What is it?
Thank you both so much.
Okay.
I love you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Over here, on the aisle there? Yeah, thank you.
My name is Colleen. You hear of
Hold your mic up.
You hear of spontaneous healings, you hear of words like miracles related to healing, those kinds of energies. My question is, does healing occur in the silence? And if so, I'd like to understand that dynamic.
That's my experience, yes. But healing is our destiny. That's my view. So that's part of what we're overcoming, is anything that's not working, anything that's broken down. So it will be restored, it will be renewed, it will be reborn. So as you claim that, then you're engaging what's already prepared for you. So people that lose their limbs often see themselves doing things with limbs. And then in the fantasy or the dream, it becomes, well, I think I'm doing that in more than anybody I've ever seen. That it's actually better. And that's a great energy field to get onto. When you can do that in your mind, how you picture it and how you relate to it, that you can claim it, and it comes across to become something like a belief. We don't really teach beliefs, we teach knowing. So that you're just taking on the knowing of who you are beyond the limitations of this world. So as you can relate to it in your heart, then it can become. Can it become in this world? Well, let's consider what this world is. It's something of a transitory nature. Maybe like a pause, like a momentary pause. Or how long is a wink? And that's the moment before we realize the truth about who we are. And my experience, you can, I call it importing. You're taking what is in the higher state and allowing it to come into you.
How do you do that?
Okay. By seeing it so that you can relate to it as done. And I'm okay if you open up other senses and you go, I smell it. I go, I'm okay with that. That can be supernatural. Like ambrosia. I'm smelling something heavenly. That means I can walk, or whatever the miracle is. So as you start seeing it, then just consider it becomes a transformation. So that if our ancestors were here, let's say from 100 years ago, they'd be looking at all kinds of things that we relate to as ordinary as miracles. Because in some way we progressed this world, so there's more miracles, there's more, what was impossible is now possible, and often it's all around. So let's just consider that's what we're doing. And you say, well, could I do that if I was blind? It's coming. But I'm sure you've heard the joke where the person wants to be rescued and there's a rowboat. No, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. There's a helicopter. No, I'm waiting for God. And then meets up with St. Peter and it's like, why didn't you come rescue me? It's like, we did. We sent you the rowboat. We sent you the helicopter. I was like, oh, I thought it was like the heavens would open up. You'd call out my voice in a loud tone. There'd be some big dove that would come down and rescue me. So part of it is opening yourself up so you're in a silence field that is calm, that solid state, and trusting that it's going to be done, what you want in your heart. In my experience with people, that often where you begin in your heart, where you're wanting to know what you want more than anything else, it'll change up. So it becomes something that you can experience now. I know you didn't quite follow that, but it means if you were fully healed, and I'll use that reference, of whatever it is you want to be healed of, that considered you would be with beings that are also demonstrating that state, and you'd be one of them. So if you were in some way crippled or missing limbs, in your vision you would see you have them back, or you have something even better like wings, or the ability to just transport yourself. Like, I don't need legs. How I transport myself is superior to arms and legs. It's not a put down on arms and legs. It's just the ability is, I want to move. That's what I want. Or sometimes people relate to it as, I want to be free of pain, or I want to be free of suffering. Okay, what would that be like? Well, it'd be like heaven. Well, what does heaven look like? What does it sound like? Can you see yourself there? What do you look like? Go down to the water and see your reflection in the water. Well, I think that got somebody in trouble. They became too self-important and self-possessed, and they go, it's not that kind of reflection. It's see yourself whole and beautiful. Now some of you are getting it. You go, I don't look like that in the world. It's like, that's okay. We're working on it. Like, learn how to see yourself as a beautiful, radiant being who's whole and complete in every way. And that way of relating to yourself starts healing you, so that you're not suffering. You're not in pain. You're happy. You're peaceful. Have any of you been to the, what do they call them, the games, the Paralympics, or something like that?
Oh,
Anybody been to one of those? Okay. Have you ever seen somebody out there that they're acting like a super being? You know, even though they have some kind of handicap or condition, they're not relating to themselves as sad or underprivileged, handicapped. They're some of the most joyful, exuberant beings. Am I correct? Yeah. And it's moving. I mean, it's the kind of thing that you look at yourself like, what am I complaining about? That person's demonstrating you can be happy just being in the game, just having an opportunity to go in the race, to finish however long it takes you. That's what they were missing, is the opportunity to be, I look at it as ordinary. Like, do this level the way it's done. It has limitations in it. But we can still be joyful. We can still be peaceful, whole in relation to the limitations. And then just consider one day these limitations are going to go away because they're no longer necessary. And we can learn how to relate to ourselves in that way now. God bless you. Thank you. So we're going to honor the timing, and we have a few things we'd like to share with you about anything that's next in silence and all the other spiritual blessings. Tag.
gosh. Well, the biggest tag is your closing blessing.
Oh, okay. Well,
Did you want to do like conference or the
any or all of that, and I know we have
Home
some
seminar?
information prepared, but
yeah.
And there are some slides. I'll let you
Okay.
do that. But do you still want me to do a...
Oh, yes.
Because I often don't think of it as a closing blessing. I think of it as a opening blessing that just keeps opening.
Yes, please.
And what happened in my life is when I started doing events like this, I don't remember the moment, but at some point it just came forward to share a blessing in the way that I was experiencing it with the group. And then somebody said, you know, you might want to put those in the book you're writing. And I was writing a book, so they ended up in my first book, The Blessings Already Are. And they're still happening, so here comes another blessing.
Thank you.
If I could shift you right now in any way, it would be into your favorite child that you are. And it's okay in this case to play favorites. But it's the child that you adore the most. And just see yourself that way. That as you see the child that you are, that exuberance, that enthusiasm, that playfulness, that curiosity, that overflowing loving being is the energy. And now we bring in the empowering of this blessing as your natural way of being. That as you can tune into this energy and know yourself as a child who loves to be free, who loves to climb, a child that only knows friends, because that's all you have in your life. So change that vision if you need to. Yes, this is winning in your fantasy. So we even have a blessing of opening your fantasies to be the best they can be. And the blessing that your divine nature is this being that wants to play, that wants to encounter, that wants to crawl into the arms of your favorite being. And maybe they're still bigger in body than you are, and that's okay. That you would see yourself in their lap, that they're holding you, singing to you, talking to you, making you laugh. And the presence with these beings around you who adore you, as they encourage you to entirely be free in your expression. So this is a blessing of freedom, of liberation, of whatever has been bound up, especially in any form of shame, any form of guilt, any sense that you're not right in this world, that this world is not for you. But right now you just find it's all transforming, it's all shifting. So your consciousness is being renewed and restored, that you have your strength back. You want to run like the wind. You want to jump into the water. There's no fear because it's a place where nothing bad or disturbing or painful happens. So just keep seeing what you would be doing in such a world. And who would be with you? And what are the sounds? It's freedom of expression. It's joy in the voice. It's having a good time. Learning new things. And as you complete with the day, there's a peacefulness. There's a quiet that comes over you. There's a relaxation and ease that you're drifting off. And as beautiful as this world is, you're going to an even better world, a much better place, even higher. That you can behold majesty and glory, beauty beyond measure. Be aware of all that you see, all that you hear. Your senses are alive in this magnificent experience. And now you become aware of being in that embrace. That someone's been holding you as you were resting, as you were getting this most beautiful sleep. And like the child you are, you're full of life again. It's a new day. All around you is what you love, what you adore, however you see it, however you experience it. That you're in a beautiful life, and your freedom is to go anywhere, with anyone, to do anything. It's all good. Beirish Beshan.
It's been a joy and a pleasure to be with you. And we have some gifts for you when you go out.
Is this one of them?
Yes.
It's amazing because I hope you just look inside and see these two people and go,
We did it
wait
in
a minute, they seem
1989.
like I might recognize them.
Well, I recognize you.
Anyway, Lee and I got together through independent invitations to do a Spirit of Peace meditation from Lee, and then I did the Gathering of the Peacemakers, and I think it was in 1989, just to give you some idea. So it led to one thing or another eventually, so now we're married.
Actually, it's a great tape for children going to sleep because they're meditations on healing the planet, and it's a big hit with parents and kids.
So that's a gift that we have on hand.
And may I see the other ones there, hon? I can show them.
Sure.
So this is a gift if you wish it. And then this one's a wonderful book. It's Loving Each Day for Peacemakers. And some of you may have it, but it has like a diary on one page and then support for peace in the day. Journey of a Soul. I love this. I actually travel with this and give it to people. JR sort of lays down the grid of the process of being in this life and our options with spirit and happiness. And then this is more information on the movement of spiritual inner awareness. It's an introduction to soul transcendence if you'd like more information. Anything else? Oh, yes, and the peace cards will be outside that also have I love you, God bless you, peace be still on it, in case you forgot. So, God bless you.
And thank you again to the Center for Spiritual Living.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.